Democracy and capitalism are antagonistic, and this is important as we all go autistic, substituting cleverness for wisdom, narrowed in and narcissistic. All that we call the GNP is nothing but the sum of our atrocities, recording the planet's dismemberment and the stock markets where we bet on death. Wall Street was built as a market for slaves, and still billions are made to slave in poverty, 'cause that's the story of imperial security. Millions of species melting like snowflakes, while we stand numb as sheep in pens. All creation wasted for the profits of a few rich men, and they decide value and how we spend. Packaging that lasts 300 years to wrap what takes 3 minutes to eat. We drive armored tanks to the PTA meeting and use nuclear power plants to toast our bread. We need to change the empire story, 'cause money is dead. Change back to before the great loneliness, when we began raiding nature like we fear and hate her. Before this insurgency, humans live by stories. The king is in his counting house, and all of patriarchy's been one single story broadcast like a bullet from a gun, shouting, defend with your lives the counting houses of the king, shouting war and profit, fear and greed. Private property is sacred, riches are for the few, disobedience is a sin and obedience a virtue, and it's that story, not armies or politics, that's the empire's greatest power. But now is the hour to change the story, 'cause we're the best-dressed, most overfed slaves in history, and it's the constant repetition of the story that convinced us we were free, but now there's a tear in the story. And what they call crisis is just an opportunity for choice, to know ourselves as just one voice in a gorgeous chorus of life on earth. We are the unfinished animal. That's our wealth and our worth. They told us there's no alternative to taking so much more than we could ever give, but let's listen to the language of longing, the story of the life force calling us back to belonging. Slow down, look up, go outside. We're all natives who've been detribalized, crashed, and we've trashed the land, depressed, alone, with grasping hands, while all the wild world waves its branches and wings and clouds like flags to try to win us back. Respect for the endless spiral of life is all that we lack. If only we believed there was something else called possible to welcome us back into the largest story. Earth song of the wolf, ocean song of the whale, starlight on snow and sacred stones, all sending us their stories. Conspiring as hawks and waves, storms and waterfalls, will we turn and learn to count our future selves among them all, change the story to one of awakening, the great turning of our time, turn from deathly entertainment and salvation in the sky. Compassion means to suffer with the homeless standing there dying before our eyes, with the seeds left crying beneath the pavement under toxic skies. We made this land an aircraft carrier, an armed satellite, tanks of free trade smashing all life, all for the story of empires and kings. But the great turning sings out in memories we can't outrun. We are members of this planet, not its masters. We can stop being tourists in our animal bodies, drop the spectator poses, know that all our depression's been misdiagnosed, return to the home we remember in the compass of our bones. What is the calculus of hope? The geometry of gratitude, the algebra of all my relations. How much for the first spring flower? How much for a blizzard in a drought? How do I count you? How do I count this? How do we fall in love with the whole world, shedding armor like spread daisy petals, 'cause she loves us? And all the king's horses and all the king's men can't stop a billion hearts sprouting like an infinite spring when we tell the story where we walk away from the king.